All right, so you wanted to dive deeper into positive thinking, huh? Well, buckle up, because we went ahead and did a deep dive ourselves.
And let me tell you, the stuff we found is seriously interesting.
We're talking science-backed stuff here, not just some feel-good fluff.
Yeah.
Like, did you know that positive thinking can actually change the physical structure of your brain?
Yeah, through neuroplasticity.
Exactly. Wild
And
Ray.
it turns out there's way more to it than just slapping on a smile and pretending everything's peachy.
So let's break it down. What exactly is positive thinking, and what does it look like in practice?
Well, it's definitely not about ignoring problems or pretending they don't exist.
Right, like life throws curveballs. That's just how it is.
It is, and positive thinking is all about facing those curveballs head on, but with a proactive, hopeful kind of mindset.
So it's not about being unrealistically optimistic or anything like
I
that.
don't know. It's more about approaching challenges with this belief that things can get better.
And that you have the power to make them better.
Ex-
Okay, so that makes sense. But where does the science come in?
Oh, the science is really cool. So research has shown that people who think positively are just better at handling stress, solving problems, and having, stronger relationships.
That's so interesting because, when I think about the people in my life who I'm really drawn to, they tend to be positive people. Like their energy is it's infectious.
It is. It's like being around positive people kind of rubs off on you, and you find yourself feeling more upbeat too. But, beyond just like good vibes, there's a really strong link between positive thinking and better physical health, which is amazing.
Now, hold on. I got to stop you right there because that's the part that always gets me. Like,
Mhm.
how can simply thinking positively actually impact my physical body?
Right. It's wild. Well, studies show that when people are optimistic, their bodies produce less cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and lower cortisol levels can lead to a bunch of good stuff, like a healthier heart and a stronger immune system.
Wait, so are you telling me that positive thinking can actually help me live longer? Sign me up.
Well, I can't promise you immortality or anything, but the research definitely suggests that positive thinking can have a pretty big impact on your overall health and longevity. But the really fascinating part is how it all works on a brain level.
Okay, so tell me what's actually happening up there when we think positively?
Well, basically, positive thoughts activate the reward centers in your brain. So when you have a positive thought, your brain releases dopamine.
Dopamine, that's the feel-good chemical, right?
It is. And this dopamine rush basically reinforces those positive thought patterns, making it easier to keep thinking positively in the future.
Oh, so it's like our brain is rewarding us for being positive, which makes us want to do it more.
Exactly. And this is where neuroplasticity comes in.
Ah, yes, neuroplasticity, the brain's incredible ability to change and adapt. Tell us more about that.
Okay, so with neuroplasticity, every time you have a positive thought, you're basically strengthening the connections in your brain associated with those positive emotions. And at the same time, you're weakening the connections associated with negative emotions.
Wow, so the more we practice positive thinking, the more we're actually rewiring our brains for happiness, essentially.
You got it. And this rewiring can lead to some serious benefits. In fact, the podcast we looked at highlighted four major ones.
Okay, let's hear them. Hit me with those benefits.
All right, so first up, we have improved mental health.
Okay, that one seems pretty straightforward, right? Like less stress, less anxiety, more peace of mind.
Totally. But then there's this thing called enhanced resilience, which I think is super fascinating.
Hmm. Enhanced resilience. What does that even mean?
Well, think of resilience as like your ability to bounce back from tough situations, from setbacks and failures.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
So people who are positive thinkers are less likely to, get stuck dwelling on their mistakes or failures.
Yeah, don't let it drag them down.
Exactly. Instead, they focus on what they can learn from the experience and move forward. They just have this ability to keep going even when things get tough.
It's like they have this inner strength that helps them overcome obstacles.
Yeah, like a built-in buffer against negativity.
I love that. Okay, what's the next benefit?
All right, next up, better relationships.
Yeah, you were talking about that earlier. Like, I do think there's something about positive people that just draws you in,
Totally. Positivity is contagious.
like a magnet.
Yeah, and when you're radiating positive energy, people are naturally more drawn to you.
Makes sense.
And that can lead to more fulfilling and supportive relationships.
And I imagine that positive energy also helps with the last benefit you mentioned, increased productivity.
Absolutely. Positive thinking fuels creativity, boosts your problem-solving skills, and just gives you that extra motivation you need to get things done. It's like a superpower for success.
Okay, so This is all amazing stuff, but
Mm.
I know our listeners are probably thinking, all right, this all sounds great, but how do I actually become a more positive thinker?
Well, lucky for us, the podcast laid out some really practical ways to cultivate positive thinking.
Perfect. Let's walk through those. What was the first one?
The first one is practicing gratitude.
Gratitude. Always a good thing.
It really is. And it's so simple, you know? Just take a few minutes each day to really think about all the good stuff in your life. The podcast even suggested keeping a gratitude journal.
Yeah, writing it down can definitely make it more tangible, more real. Okay, what's next?
The next tip is to challenge your negative thoughts.
Because let's be real, we all have those negative thoughts creeping in
A-
sometimes.
absolutely. But the key is to catch those thoughts and reframe them. For example, instead of saying, I'm such a failure, try saying, I made a mistake, but I can learn from it and do better next time.
It's like replacing a negative inner critic with a supportive coach.
Exactly. And then there's this idea of surrounding yourself with positivity.
Okay, I can definitely see how that would help.
Yeah, it's like the people you spend time with, the books you read, the shows you watch, even the social media you consume, all of that influences your mindset. So you got to be intentional about filling your life with positive influences.
Be mindful of your media diet.
Oh,
Love
yeah.
that. What else?
Next up, set realistic goals. It's so easy to get overwhelmed when we set these huge, daunting goals for ourselves.
Totally. We set ourselves up for disappointment.
Exactly. So the key is to break those big goals down into smaller, manageable steps.
Makes it so much less intimidating, right? You get that sense of accomplishment along the way.
Yes, it's all about setting yourself up for success, one step at a time.
Love it. Okay, what's the last method?
The last one is practicing mindfulness and meditation.
Those are always good for the soul.
Right. It's amazing how taking just a few minutes each day to quiet your mind and focus on your breath can help reduce stress and just create a sense of calm.
It's like hitting the reset button on your brain.
It is, and there are tons of apps and resources out there if you're new to meditation and want some guidance.
Awesome. Well, this has been such an insightful deep dive. I feel like we've learned so much about the power of positive thinking.
We have. And I think the biggest takeaway for our listeners is that positive thinking isn't just some woo-woo concept. It's backed by science.
It's about real, tangible benefits for your mental and physical health, your relationships, and your overall success in life.
And the coolest part, we all have the power to cultivate it. It's a choice. We're not stuck with our negative thoughts. We can actively choose to shift our mindset.
So if you're ready to unlock the incredible power of positive thinking, start by putting some of these methods into practice. Even small changes can make a big difference over time.
And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly. So be kind to yourself, be patient, and enjoy the ride.